Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're well and having a beautiful day. In today's tutorial, we will be creating an Easter table setting. So start by choosing color schemes that captures the essence of spring, using pastel colors like pink, green, yellow, and work a wonderful Easter table setting. So I hope you get inspired to create this table setup with my beautiful inspirational video. So today, I will share with you some creative ideas and tips for using scraps and to create a vibrant, spring-looking, adorable Easter table setting. So join me and have some fun. So whether you're hosting a large gathering, you can make as many table settings as you like. I only created 4. So get inspired and let's start creating a beautiful, memorable feast of a table setting for Easter. All right, let's get started, guys. All right, so here I am. I'm using my wok lid. It's the biggest lid I actually have, I think. But whatever circular template you want to use to make your place settings. So I'm going to cut it around using my fabric shears, and you can cut out however amount you want. Now you can cut it straight onto the batting as I've done here, or you can cut it out from paper, whatever pleases you. You can also double up the batting and cut 2 at a time, 4 at a time, whatever, however it makes your life more simplistic. All right, you can use your scissors, as I said, or your rotary cutter and nub your blade up and go all around. It's sitting on the mat, whatever is the easiest for you. The objective here is to get them all the same size. Okay, so I'm just going to go all the way around like so. And I'm using the edge so you can hear that I'm actually touching. Can you hear that? I want to make sure I'm not cutting any fabric underneath there. So again, I'm going to hold that bit. All right, done. So as you can see, I just dropped my batting. As you can see, I've got a little extra the corner there, so I'm just going to cut that off. What you could do also, whatever you have, draw on the batting and then cut. Whatever is the easiest, it's up to you. All right, it doesn't have to be, as you can see, I have jagged edges. That is, that is neither here or there. It was the style in which I actually cut. The objective is to make sure that they're all the same size, so you can literally use this as your template as well and cut however amount of place setting you want. All right, so with that being done, the next step now is to get your backing fabric. Now I am using colors that represents Easter, so I'm going to be using this. So I'm using a fat quarter for this one. Okay, now with the fat quarter I also need to get my binding out of this, so I don't want to waste it too much. All right, so I'm going to bring it probably about 1/4 inch to the edge and 1/4 inch to that corner there as well, because I'm just going to give myself a little bit of extra around. No particular reason. Well, in all honesty, as you know, when you're sewing on batting, it kind of shrinks, doesn't it? So even if the stitches shrink up the batting a bit, you still have a little bit of leeway with your backing fabric so that it shrinks back evenly. All right, I have done it both ways. So I've done it where I cut it right to the edge, and I've done it whereby I've cut it a little bit bigger so that I have that leeway, and I think the leeway works best. Okay, so I'm just going to cut like so. Again, this is not about making sure the circle here is perfected, really nice and tight, or it's as long as you give yourself a little bit of leeway. That's the objective. All right, don't over stress about it. The objective here is make it a fun project. So while I am here at the cutting station, what I am going to do is cut 2 inches. Now for this, I'm using 2 inches strips for my binding. So I am going to cut that here right now. And for the size that I am using, I reckon 3 strips sewn together, butt to butt. And what I mean by that is I'm butting at the both ends. So I'm not doing the typical bias jointing, yeah, so I'm not doing that, whereby I am putting it front sides together and sewing on a diagonal and folding it over to make that perfect join. I'm not doing that. I am just butting up both of the fabrics together end to end and sewing a 1/4 inch seam across there. The reason why I'm doing it that way is because I don't want to play around with losing length in terms of the fat quarter here. I know I haven't got much left, so if I have to do that, I am going to be losing inches. So I prefer to play it safe and just use it butt to butt to cut that 2 inches strip. All right, so that's what I am doing, and I reckon 3 strips should get you around there. Okay, so again, it's 2 inches, and all I'm going to do is sew it together butt to butt, as I said, and iron it. Fold like so and iron. So that's the objective for that. So what we're going to do now, excuse me, what we're going to do now, I haven't had breakfast yet, so I'm a bit hungry. My stomach is like, okay, what's going on here, Karen? Have you abandoned me? So I'm a little bit hungry. So we are going to get started. There's not going to be any basting. It's a quilt as you go, so we're going to get started. So let's go to the sewing machine where I have all my fabric scraps out, and let's get excited about this. It's a beautiful project, and I know you're going to enjoy it. All right, so I'm at the table now, and what I'm going to, so I have my little bin here so that I can see whatever bits I don't need. I just dump it in there immediately, so it just keeps the mess down a little bit. So what I'm working with is with some strips, different sizes. I am going to keep them fairly roughly about 1.5 inches. I am not going to measure. I'm just going to visually achieve that. Excuse me. So that's what I'm going to do. Some of them, if they're really crinkly, I will get up and probably give it a little bit of an iron. If not, I'll smoothen it off like so. But if it's still crinkly, I probably will or will not use it, or just get up and give it some iron if I desperately need it. Now you can adapt whatever method you want to obviously make this project. I think it's very vibrant and really, really beautiful and simplistic. All right, so I thought I'll share it with you. So I'm going to start with a square in the middle, and I'm going to start sewing immediately. So what I have been doing is trying to make them all look consistent. You don't have to do that. My idea here is to give it a cohesive look, to sort of give the appearance of it being a set. All right, so that's why I'm doing it this way. So I'm just going to cut it here. I'm just measuring the size of the purple and the yellow together. So I've got those 2 bits there. So the equipment you would need obviously is your little bin, your scissors, small scissors. I have a 2.5 inch template here, only to measure if I need, but in all honesty, I haven't used it. I have been just using the scissors to free cut. So I'm going to place it right in the middle. And what I'm doing here, because obviously the batting is not stuck onto the backing fabric, so I'm simply just going to make sure it's in the middle of the backing fabric, because it's moved since I moved it from the cutting table to where I'm sitting and sewing now. So I'm just gently pulling it over. I mean, if you're so inclined and you feel like you want to glue based first, by all means go ahead, but in all honesty, there's no need to do so. So I'm going to place my starter pieces in the middle, And then I'm just going to work my way out. You can create any sort of pattern that you want, i.e. you can go crisscross, you can go rough any odd piece and make it really scrappy, but I'm going for sort of a square look, cottagey idea for making this. Now bear with me if my chair makes noise. You know what, I only remember that I need to, well, get Carl to put some oil in this stool so that it doesn't squeak, because it has like screws in it. So that's the only time I remember is when I'm here on the camera with you guys. Other than that, I just ignore it. All right, so I'm also choosing colors that represent Easter. So I'm looking for that inspirational, sort of vibrant, summery, pastel, sort of Easter celebration, spring colors that will make it look uniform together. What I am doing is going to use the same cuts or colors within all of them, as I said, because I want that cohesive look. So I'm just going to do a stitch there to start joining this one. Now I'm going to have to move you over to the sewing machine. So you just wanted to get the idea that I have all my strips here. These are strips from my, obviously, when I am either cutting fur fabric, or these are leftover strips for binding. A lot of them are leftover binding. I tend to have a few of that, so I always keep them. Okay, but I'm going to move you over to the sewing machine because I want you to understand the process. So I'll bring you as close as possible to the sewing machine, because I am not bringing it here to measure again. Well, sometimes I am and sometimes I'm not. But I'll get started for this one, sew a 1/4 inch, and I'm using a 1/4 inch, and then come back and show the next one. What I don't want you to worry about is making sure that the edges are even. That's not the objective here, because we are going to overlay once we lay the fabric down. Okay, that the objective is to keep overlaying, because you don't want to see those raw edges from the previous print. I'm just looking for a smaller piece, or a slimmer piece I should say, to add on. Okay, so I can't find that. Let me see if there's any in my box here. I do have my boxes on the floor here with me, so I can just bend down and find. Okay, so I've got one more. I've got like 3 boxes surrounding me. I did find another piece. All right, so what I'll do, I don't need much of this one. I'll fold it over, and I'll cut this in half, and I need one bit for now. And again, so this is what I'm doing basically. As I said, I'm just cutting it. It doesn't have to be thick, wide, skinny. It's a scrappy project. The objective is to have fun with it. So as you can see, my edges don't meet here, but I'm just going to lay over the shortest edge, stitch along there. Alright, and what I'm going to do now is to use my big scissors, hold it, flip it back, cut, and press it smooth. Turn and then do the next color on the other side. Now what I would advise you is, when you make your first one, if you want that cohesive look like I am doing, what I have done is make one, and then obviously I'm using that as my blueprint, so that I could then make the others to look very similar. You may run out of fabrics, you may not. If you run out, obviously, then you can choose colors that's closest to it. And I'm looking for a particular piece of fabric and I'm not seeing any. So let me go into the bin and see if I see. All right, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Go, go, go. Why am I singing? Here we go. And I'm still doing it. All right, here we go. Right, so I reckon this is what I want. So what I have done with my scrap bin is like where there is squares, like this one is a beautiful, perfect square. I've put all squares or, you know, almost ready to cut pieces in my scrap bin. So I've separated, so I have a strip bin, a rough cut bin where there's all sorts of sizes, and I have a bin that's either square or rectangle, so it's easier to get them. So I think it's easier for me that way. And then I can grab from each one. I took the time to actually get all that set up, rather, because before I would have them all mixed up. So I thought, well, you know what, if I separate, life would be a little bit easier. And I was right. It is a little bit easier. Now, for something like this, so I'm going to fold it back. So something like that, I don't keep, I'm afraid. That goes in the bin, all right? So that's what I do. So that's the starting point now. And I'm just going to continue going all the way around with different length of strips. Now that's... So where possible, if I need to unpick something and I want that piece of fabric, I will definitely do so. Take that apart. You don't have to if you don't want to, but remember I'm going with a color scheme here. Right, so I'm gonna use, let me see, can I get something out of this? Yes, I can. Definitely. Right, so I'm gonna trim that there. So remember, it doesn't have to be a perfect strip piece. As long as it's close enough, it's good enough to go in there. Let the fabric feel like I am worthy. Guys, do you ever talk to your fabric? I'm like, many times when I'm making a scrap quilt, right? And I'm looking for a particular piece of fabric, and I had one before and I couldn't find it again. I was be like, oh gosh, okay, fine, I'm gonna have to use something else. And almost by design, I guarantee you that I always find the piece that I was looking for after the fact that I don't need it anymore. So I was be like, all right, you were hiding from me. That's how you want to play it? Fine. This is what I'm going to do to you. I am going to put you at the top of the pile. So the next time you're going to get used. Can't hide from me. I will find you eventually. And this is me talking to the fabric. Am I here on my own too long? Is that what it is? Am I spending too much time on my own? That I'm actually ending up, what the hell? Am I beginning to speak to fabric? Is that what's happening, Karen? So yeah, you know, it's got to be a little bit careful, I think. A little bit on the careful side. Right, so my next bit now you see I've got these two ends sticking out. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. So I'm going to go in for some purple. And I do want a bit of a light purple. I don't want a dark purple, not just yet. Now, this is when I end up starting talking to the fabrics, because I knew I just saw some light purple a minute ago. There you are. Found ya. Found ya. So I'm going to, perfect piece right there. So that is going to cover those bits. Now ideally I don't do that, and I don't like it hanging out so long because I don't want it to show underneath the other fabric I'm putting under. So I'm going to trim it back and cut it off. So just to take off that bit. I mean, it's up to you. You can leave it if you want to, but I did one like that, and I did not like seeing the fabric underneath. All right, it depends on if the fabric is thin or not. And as you know, this is scrap, so I'm not too particular on the pieces that I pick up. I'm not being prejudiced. You know, so yeah. So everybody is getting an audition, and everybody, if they pass that audition, is getting to stay in the project. All right, so flip that back again and again. So this is hence the reason why I'm doing the flip back, so I don't have those extra hanging over. That's what I'm trying to avoid here. You don't have to, as I said, but I just think it makes it look a bit more tidy. All right, so I'm sure you get the idea. So then I'm going to go in with another piece now. Why am I making these noises? I really don't know. What I do know, I just like talking to myself. Sometimes, you know, it's good to talk. There was an advert or a program, well, a company by the name of BT in the UK, and they always say it's good to talk. So yeah, I am talking. I'm looking for an appropriate piece to go there, because what I'm trying to do is echo the colors, but in this case I don't think I have more purple. Or do I? Or do I have, but I don't want, you see, I've got this beautiful purple here, but I didn't want to add that. Not just yet. Not yet, because I have a placement to put that one. Do I have any more? Love it when a plan works out. I love it when the plan works out. Oh my gosh, Karen, you're silly. Totally silly. Guys, you see, I'm literally talking to the fabric, and now I'm singing to the fabric, to the fabric. All right, here we go. So stitch along there. That's looking beautiful. Beautiful. You can hear the magpies are singing their morning songs. Let's just double check. You are a bit wide, my dear. Yes, I have some more. I'm gonna put you there, right there. So you fit beautifully. All right, as I get closer to the end, what I am doing and what I wanted to show you is to turn it over, okay? And this is the point where I start like taking off any little extra bits of the knots that the thread has tied. Once I cut the thread, because my sewing machine leaves a long tail end once you cut the thread automatically after sewing. So I tend to kind of clean as you go with all those little extra threads because I hate seeing them. But also what I have been, one of the reasons why I turn it around, oh, what you're doing there, you're not supposed to be there, is to then trim up the extra that's hanging off the edge just to keep it tidy, because what could happen is that you can just keep continuing, and if you're not careful, then you've sort of lost your circle. So that's why I try to keep tidy as I go, so that I can see where my circle edge is and not to overpower it. So then I'm lost, and then I'm guessing and I'm feeling where is the circle. So so that's what I'm doing here. So I just try to tidy up as I go and cut all the extra hang-offs, all the bits that's just hanging off. So just so that I just tidy, so that I can see, you know, I can see a nice clean look as I continue to get everything done. All right, so that's my tip there for that. And then also my other tip is that I am ending with the same color. So for example, this one here, I sewed it on a little bit too early, or I could have made it wide, but I didn't want to do that. So I think I may have to actually, because I don't want to rip that out, so I may have to now make this wider than I had further anticipated, just like I have done this side. So I'm going to have to sew on an extra piece, which is fine, because as long as remember, I'm looking for that cohesive look, so as long as it balances out, that's okay. So I'm just going to take this beautiful wide strip, sew along there, and then I'll turn it over and trim it again like I did, and finish up with this end. And then the next we will do now is to start adding the binding. Alright, so I'm going to do the binding now, and you leave your tail end on as normal. Now, what I have not done is snip the edges, so that, you know, when you're going around a curve, so that it can turn easily. I'm not going to bother with that. I think it's, if you want to do that, go ahead and do it, but for me, I'm fine. I'm confident in just aligning the binding and the edge of the table setting quite easily. I'm going to use my little guide here to help me stay on the edge, and so I'm just going to put it down, and all I'm simply going to do is really just take my time as I go around. So this is going to be done in small increments. So as I sew, I align and turn. As simple as that. And again, it's raw edge to raw edge I'm sewing here, just like you would normally a binding. So that's it. I'm just holding it, lining it all up, edge to edge, and just taking small increments of stitches and turning as I go. Alright guys, so this is what I've set it all out to look like, just to give you an idea. You saw it at the beginning without any plate setting on it, but I just thought I'll add it so that you can see the difference. I thought this worked out beautifully. Very lovely, simplistic idea for a plate setting for Easter. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Don't forget to like and subscribe, hit that notification bell, let me know what you think, and share the video. It really, really is a big plus when you do something just as simple as that. So that is what it looks like. So beautiful. And as I said before, when I was making it, that I wanted them to coordinate so that it looks like a set. So I have repeated the strips of fabric throughout so that it looks really cohesive together. So you can see all the purples and yellows. You know, for me, what reminds me of those sort of Easter color palettes. Very, very beautiful. And I think it's absolutely lovely. So I've used a yellow fat quarter, as you can tell, because all of the bases is yellow, as well as I've used the same ones for the binding. But I think overall, this looks absolutely gorgeous. What do you think? I would love to hear your feedback. So I think that's it for now, guys. That's all I have for you. Bye for now. Happy quilting, and I'll definitely see you in the next one.